before we do that, a lot of people had written to me and said, Brian, I want to know more about Jon's option strategies because you really are on the cutting edge and you've been doing this for so long to understand how options can tell you so much about what's going to happen, about what the markets are. And so we've just recorded a separate video that goes more into detail about your weekly options profit strategy and your event, America's First Options Millionaire Summit. That link is below, or they can go to londonreal.tv/options. But for people that don't know much about that, what kind of makes your system different and your philosophy different? I mean, you're obviously on television every day talking about this stuff. Mm-hmm. What makes you the guy?
Well, I think there's just so much information, as you know, from being a derivatives trader in options that isn't available in stock. So they're telling you time frame because an option has an expiration. Which expiration are they trading? That tells you how long perhaps the position should be on for. They tell you strike price. So for instance, Apple might be trading at $220 a share. Are they buying those calls, which we'd call at the money, or are they buying a call up here at 225, 230, and so forth? So again, time frame, strike prices and things, how much leverage do they want in that trade? All that information, Brian, is encapsulated in each contract that we're tracking. And when I started in 1981, New York Stock Exchange would trade 50 million shares a day. Now we do that in the opening. You know, in the first 15 minutes, 50 million shares go up. Now we trade billions of shares a day. And options, which are, of course, a derivative of those very stocks that we're talking about on the New York or NASDAQ, options trade with multiple strike prices. Like Apple might have 300 different strike prices because they've got weeklies that go out this week, next week, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out. Then you've got monthly options and so forth, and multiple strike prices of all these. So there's so much data out there that it used to be that we'd see about 200,000 quotes per second. Now we're seeing 7.5 to 8 million quotes per second.
Wow.
So you can't do it with the human eye. You have to do it with a computer. But then once you find those patterns, then it makes it a lot easier to coattail on the smart money.
Now, a lot of people get scared about options and it seems complicated for them. And I know it took me a couple of years to first have my epiphany, and we can talk about that later. Mm-hmm. Should people be scared of options, or is it an education process?
Just an education process. And once they understand them, they won't want to trade any other way because you can define the amount of risk you want to take. If I buy Apple at 220, using that example again, and I buy 1,000 shares, that's nearly $250,000 that I've got on the table. I don't think it's going to vaporize because Apple sells a ton of products. But could Apple make a 10% correction, which would mean it drops by $20? Sure. And we've seen it happen a lot. Could it also jump $20? Yeah. And we've seen that happen. But I'd rather trade that option for $1 that could let me ride along with that $20 upside move. And if I'm wrong and it goes the opposite way, I lose $1. I don't lose 20. So I think it's all about leverage and defining your risk. And if you can do those two things and do them right, I think you can be in this game a long time and make money.
Yeah, which you have done with your brother Pete. And one of your mantras is, I think you said, and we'll talk about later, any monkey can pick a stock, yep. But cutting your losses and riding your wins is what makes a trader make money in the long run and makes them stick around.
True. Yep. It's all about discipline. And, we always say it. Pete really harps on people and says, discipline dictates action, DDA. So if you want to make sure that you're going to be at the table a long time, if you have this much of an edge in Vegas, if you're counting cards and they don't know it, you get this much of an edge. What if you could turn that edge into this much of an edge? Because you can, but you have to be disciplined with options. You have a lot better odds with options than you ever do in blackjack or any other game in Vegas.
Yeah, it's a really good analogy. All right, so if people want to learn more about that, they can click on the link below.
Please.
Go to londonreal.tv/options. Again, it's America's First Optioneer Millionaire Summit, and you're one of the best in the business. I mean, you really have been there and done that. I mean, back in '81, before anyone really understood the option price in theory, you were doing it, then you saw the theory come, and now you look at those options for real information. It's great stuff. So
thanks
for sitting down with me on that. Hi, it's Brian Rose from London Real, and I've just sat down with Jon Najarian, legendary options trader, Hall of Famer, and TV celebrity. You might know him as host of CNBC's Halftime Report, or from his books, How I Trade Options and The 22 Rules of Investing.
I think there's just so much information in options that isn't available in stock. I think it's all about leverage and defining your risk. And if you can do those two things, I think you can be in this game a long time and make money.
Well, in just a few days, Jon will finally reveal what made him a legendary options trader. In a private broadcast that won't be available on YouTube or anywhere public, he'll show an exclusive group of people how he's been using special infrastructure that's only available to institutional investors. Something that allows him to get a critical piece of information directly from the market exchanges. Information that can tip you off about big market moves a few days before they happen.
We built this algorithm that looked for unusual trading patterns in the market. Once you find those patterns, then it makes it a lot easier to coattail on the smart money.
Now, as a former Wall Street banker myself, I am super excited to share this investment strategy for the very first time. As the host of this episode, I'm able to offer you exclusive rights to a seat at his free training. But you must act now to secure your place. So click on the link below or go to londonreal.tv/options to lock in your spot. And I will see you there.